And Missouri lawmakers push through redistricting plans, but there's at least one court battle looming.
We're going to go from Thursday morning snow to a Thursday afternoon warm-up, and we'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And a new study in the 4 states addressing challenges posed to the homeless gets underway.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. But first, we're almost through this cold weather.
Yeah.
Michael Hayslip.
We're just about done with it. We've got a little light snow, in fact, that rolled through overnight. You'll probably notice a dusting out on your car. Roadways are, however, fine. No storm reports. And we consider this what we call trace accumulation amount, so it won't even really register here by the time it's said and done. Let's remove the satellite cover. We can tell it's all pushing off to the pushing off to the east. Nothing behind it either. So it'll be done here in say the next hour. It will all be a thing of the past. Our temperatures much better than what we've had past couple of days. How about high 20s, low 30s? So that beats all those wind chills that were single digits there on Tuesday and Wednesday. And by the time we get to this afternoon, even with a mostly cloudy start, we're still able to make it up into the 40s. And we're going to stay dry here as we head into the weekend. No more flurries to worry about. And as we work into Friday and Saturday, Friday's got a little cold shot of air that works in from the north. Another wind switch, if you will, but still looking at 50s for Saturday and Sunday. Then we get ready for a pretty crazy next week / beginning of February as temperatures start off delightful, but then bring us not only some thunderstorm activity, but also a little midweek wintry precipitation on Wednesday and Thursday. So a week from now, we're going to ramp up with some winter weather.
All right. Well,
not to look too far down the road, but
yeah. I'm looking forward to those highs on Saturday and Sunday. That's
weekend's
for sure.
going to be great.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Well, top Republicans pushed their congressional redistricting plan through the GOP-dominated Kansas legislature without much trouble. An expected court battle looms after Wednesday's legislative action over whether the proposed map goes too far in hurting the state's only Democrat in Congress. The House's 79-37 vote sends Democratic Governor Laura Kelly a bill that would split the Kansas City area into 2 congressional districts and move the liberal northeast Kansas city of Lawrence into a district with central and western Kansas. The Senate approved the measure last week. Republicans in the Missouri Senate are fighting over how to divvy up the state's 8 congressional districts. Senators on Wednesday worked behind closed doors to compromise on new district lines. A plan backed by GOP leaders is projected to continue current political divide of 6 Republican and 2 Democratic representatives. But some Republicans want to split the Democratic stronghold of Kansas City among multiple districts to give Republicans a shot at winning 7 seats. A study underway aimed at addressing the challenges of homelessness in the 4 states. Every January, organizations aimed at helping the homeless go out and conduct a point-in-time count. The count is made up of sheltered and unsheltered people on a single night. On Wednesday, crews from Economic Security in Joplin went out to find people living without shelter to get information from them to be able to provide better resources in the future.
We usually bring information about local resources. I brought some snacks, just information that I can share. And we'll go out and we'll ask if we can ask them some questions. We use that information locally for planning.
The count is broken into 2 parts. A survey will go to all local shelters and transitional housing tonight. Also, teams will go out in Jasper and Newton counties to find people experiencing homelessness. Later in the show, KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky tells us more about the survey. Freeman Health System discusses COVID testing on Wednesday during a briefing. Officials say they've conducted almost 100,000 tests so far. 20,000 tested positive. Now that testing has led to longer wait times in the emergency room. Officials say when it comes to testing in the ER, the resources go where they are needed.
So those patients, even if they're in the emergency department, they still have an admission status. They're still being treated by sub-consultants. If they need dialysis, they're still getting dialysis. It really is just where's the bed that we can utilize, and does it have isolation capability? And unfortunately, sometimes we have to really utilize those isolation rooms in the emergency department.
In a statement, Mercy Hospital officials say they've seen a lot of people show up at the ER just for COVID testing. They agree with the Department of Health's statement that the ER is meant for true emergencies and that COVID testing is leading to long wait times. Mercy suggested people use their convenient care clinics for testing rather than the ER. A new counselor at McDonald County High School is connecting students with career opportunities after graduation. Joseph Beechner is the new career and college counselor at the high school. He's been reaching out to businesses in the area to see where employees are needed, and then he puts students in contact with those businesses so they have jobs lined up after graduating.
Every one of them wants to see, our students be successful and find their place in life when they get out of high school. But the point of this position is to have a dedicated person in the building that is here to talk every day college and career development. So it's to have this door right here, open door, student can come in.
The new counselor position is part of a broader focus of McDonald County High School to connect students with businesses. A local company is celebrating half a century in business. Midcon Cables was founded in Joplin in 1972. It manufactures wiring harnesses for the defense industry. And while the company used to be privately owned, it became employee-owned in 2010. Officials say even after all these years, it still feels like family.
I've always loved working at Midcon. It's a very family-oriented business. They've always taken care of me, and I like how it's important to the management here at Midcon to take care of all the employees, all the way down to the lowest paid to the highest paid.
The company originally had 3 facilities in Joplin. Today, it's headquartered on Davis Boulevard. It's 5:07.
Early morning flurries pushing out to the east. We're just about done with that. Our temperatures right now, we see a couple 32s out there, but this is substantially better than what we had on Tuesday and Wednesday. At least we're not talking about single-digit wind chills this morning, that's for sure. And it won't be too long. Say probably about 8 that everybody is above the freezing mark. We'll go mid to high 40s today, mostly cloudy skies. Wind shifts to the north overnight, a little secondary cold front for Friday, but Friday's still not too bad. Then we're right back into the 50s on Saturday and Sunday.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Missouri Southern has a full pride on display as the men's and women's basketball team take on Rogers. We've got the highlights for you. Plus, we'll introduce you to a talented teenager who's been invited to play at Carnegie Hall. And we've heard a lot about how vaccines and booster shots keep you protected against COVID-19, but your diet can also give your immune system a healthy boost. We'll explain. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Missouri Southern Lions back on the court last night. Home doubleheader against Rogers State. On the women's side, Southern one of the hottest teams going in the league right now. Winners of 5 in a row, entering the day just 1 game back of first place in the MIAA at 9-3. Lacey Stokes, we'll start with her. Spins, leaves her defender, hits a jumper, first points of the game. Lions fall behind but finish out the quarter on an 11-0 run. Here's Amaya Johns, 3 from the top for the lead. 3-point game after the first quarter. Beginning of the second, Johns again. Missouri Southern pulling away 37-22 at halftime. Later, Stokes keeps control, gets the basket before the shot clock. She finishes with 13 points and 10 assists. And here's one of those 10. Given to Maddie Stokes. Maddie leads the Lions with 16 points, 7 rebounds, more unselfish play as Johns leaves it for Lane Skiles. Skiles added 9 points. Missouri Southern rolls by Rogers State, 73-56.
We knew that we weren't playing to the best of our ability and that we kind of came out soft, and that's not the team that we are. So we kind of all just looked at each other and said that we just need to pick it up or they were going to win.
I feel like after this weekend, we really kind of figured out how good we can really be. And as long as we stick to, that confidence in ourselves and in each other, knowing that we can be successful as long as we're playing together, it just kind of has fueled the momentum for us going into these other games and for the rest of the season.
On the men's side, Lions trying to sweep the season series from Rogers State, beat them by 14 points back in December. In the first half, Avery Taggart Heating up, sinks one from long range, team high 19, same spot. This time it's Lawson Jenkins, also in double figures. Forces Rogers State to call the timeout. Then Winston Dessau from the other side. He adds 16, 42-31 Lions at the break. In the second half, Stan Scott, a little pump fake, little baseline jumper. Then on the near side, step back jumper. Scott, 18 points and 15 rebounds. Missouri Southern dominates Rogers and wins this thing 84-63. AFC Championship game in Kansas City coming up this weekend, right here on KOAM. The Chiefs welcoming the Cincinnati Bengals, aiming to move on to the Super Bowl for the third consecutive season. Sunday's game will be the second meeting of the season between these two. Cincinnati beat KC 34-31 just a few weeks ago. In that game, Chiefs could not stop quarterback Joe Burrow and wide receiver Jamar Chase. Chase ended the game with 266 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns.
They took advantage of some one-on-one opportunities, and it was accurate throws, good coverage awareness, and Jamar made some great plays. They were on the same page, against some of the zone coverages. Chiefs do a great job of employing a variety of schemes and, trying to keep you off balance. And I thought that Joe and Jamar did a good job being on the same page and making the most of their opportunities.
All right, we covered a little basketball, we covered a little football. The Missouri Southern baseball team, that's right, the baseball team, just 6 days away from their first game of the season as the Lions begin their schedule next Tuesday on the road against Southwestern Oklahoma State. Southern was 30-13 last season. That included 22-11 in the MIAA, good enough for third place in the conference. Now they do lose some key pieces like that guy who was National Pitcher of the Year, Zach Parrish. But they got some big-time players coming back. That includes catcher Tommy Stevenson, outfielder Jordan Fitzpatrick. They were both top 5 in the league in RBIs last season.
We got a lot of leaders this year, a lot of returning guys, and we got a lot of young guys looking to contribute too. So I think it's going to be a big deal for us to show them the ropes this year and really get them in the swing of things.
We got guys like Fitzpatrick or Kuziak or Stevenson or Milas and Logan Van Wy, and these guys are back, and so those guys are great players for us too, and so they'll step into that role if they didn't do some of that last year, and then we got some good young freshmen with Muskowski and Parker, just to mention a few. So those guys are going to play roles for us, and we're excited to get those guys out there and see what they can do.
Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, the Kremlin sending fighter jets to Belarus as one lands just 80 miles from the Ukrainian border. And a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
There's nothing like
9. That sounds like a good one. You can tell traffic's ticking right along right there. We don't see anything accumulating on the roadways. Take it slow, but you're going to have to really be on some side roads there that picked up some accumulation to even run into any slick spots. So that's smooth sailing right there. Let's go to the Skywatch storm tracker and see exactly where the flurries still exist. Pushing off to the northeastern section of southwest Missouri right now, just about done. What is coming down, very, very light. Behind it, nothing but clouds. We'll go ahead and put the cloud cover back on there and tell it's going to be a mostly cloudy start there after sunrise at about 7:25 from 7th and Rangeline. 31 degrees is where we stand, and a whole bunch more high 20s and low 30s than what we saw for the past 2 days instead of the single-digit wind chills. As a matter of fact, about a 16-degree warm-up from what we encountered yesterday as we now see the cold front begin to push off to the East Coast. Speaking of the East Coast, they're going to have a mess on their hands. They've got the old bomb cyclone that's about to work its way in right there. So everything from the mid-Atlantic up to New England with a very good chance to get hit by a weekend winter storm. You can tell that snow that we have, even though they're just flurries, does stretch from Louisiana all the way up to Indiana. By the time we get to the afternoon, though, a distant thing of the past, and we can start to forget about that cold front that we had for 48 hours. We'll be up into the mid-40s, even with mostly cloudy skies. Overnight, wind is going to shift, move back in from the north. So it'll be a tad bit cool tomorrow morning. We're not going to get down into single digits again, but it will make a little bit of a difference. But we are nice, peaceful, and quiet headed into the weekend. Then we get another shift in our winds by the time we get from Friday into Saturday. And what that does, hey, feeds us some warmer temperatures. It's going to be a great looking weekend. A little bit breezy for Saturday. And while the East Coast is dealing with their bomb cyclone and their winter storm, we're going to be sitting in the 50s with partly sunny skies. Time now for our KOAM Something to Talk About Instapoll. A Florida high school student getting a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to play at Carnegie Hall. The team was chosen as part of the prestigious venue's High School Honors Series. Amanda Porter has the story.
This beautiful music took time to learn and perfect. And now, Dunbar High School student Aiden Persaud will play his violin at the 2022 High School Honors Performance Series at Carnegie Hall.
It's just really exciting to be from Fort Myers and to be able to go to New York City, which is such an amazing place, and to be able to represent my school, which I'm really proud to be a Dunbar Tiger.
Persaud has prepared for the big stage since 2019.
He's one of those amazing violinists that I thought that it would be perfect for him.
Only the highest rated high school musicians play in the honors concert.
To get to Carnegie Hall and play over there in this particular orchestra, you have to do audition. So we did recording of his piece.
This recording got Aiden his seat on stage.
Playing violin for me is a really stress-relieving activity. It's really fun, but I also feel like I can express my emotions through playing it.
And soon Aiden gets to play on the big stage after a 2-year delay due to the pandemic.
I really took those 2 years to practice harder and make sure I had what it takes. And I'm really excited to go to Carnegie Hall.
Aiden performs with other students, and they're from around the world. This takes place at Carnegie Hall coming up next weekend. Our question for you this morning, do you play a musical instrument? We put a number of options up there, everything from guitar to piano, drums, horn, or maybe none of the above. Maybe it's other as well. There's a couple ways to connect with us each and every morning. There's our Facebook page at KOAM News Now. There's our address. You can just go straight to the poll, koamnewsnow.com/vote. Or if you've got your phone handy, take a picture of that QR code. Hey, Dylan, pop that up full screen for me right there. It makes it easier on everybody's life if it's just like in front of their TV screen. There we go. And we'll bring that up here later in the show, so no need to scramble for your phone right now. But if you take a picture of that, it will take you to the poll each morning. We'll be back with Health Watch next.
Ron Supermarket is celebrating 40.
Topping Health Watch this morning, Los Angeles is preparing to ensure the Super Bowl in February is not a super spreader COVID-19 event. Los Angeles County of Public Health Department says attendees will be given KN95 masks. They must be worn at all times unless actively eating or drinking. The NFL also plans to distribute 60,000 at-home COVID tests to people at the LA Convention Center, where an interactive football theme park is launching the week before the game. Vaccination sites will also be set up at the convention center. Anyone who gets a first, second, or booster dose will be allowed to enter for free. And to ensure people know their status before attending any of these events, the NFL is offering on-site testing at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood and the LA Convention Center. A new study shows Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine booster shot still works against the Omicron variant after 6 months. However, researchers did find that antibody protection wanes. It's 6 times lower 6 months before getting boosted. Researchers also found the neutralizing antibody levels declined against Omicron much faster than against the dominant strain of the virus circulating 2 years ago. The study was published Wednesday in the New England Journal of Medicine. More than 85 million Americans have received a booster dose of COVID-19 vaccine. That's according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That's only about 26% of the population. Well, vaccines versus variants. Right now it's Omicron. For fully vaccinated adults, cases are often mild or asymptomatic. Still, the country is now averaging more than 2,000 deaths every day, slightly higher than the Delta variant peak last September. Pfizer says it's manufacturing an Omicron-specific vaccine and they're testing it now. But some health experts think we need a universal coronavirus vaccine, something Dr. Anthony Fauci is expected to talk about at the White House today. And he says there's already been significant work done. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, we'll have more on this story. Well, the best way to protect against COVID-19 is to get vaccinated and boosted if you're eligible. But as Mandy Gaither explains, you may also help boost your immune system by feeding your body the right foods.
Across the U.S., COVID-19 cases seem to be plateauing, but the Omicron variant is still a threat. Vaccines and boosters are the best protection, but another weapon may be a healthy diet.
Some of the obvious things that we always want to look at is antioxidants, phytonutrients. We're going to get those from plant-based whole foods and foods that have a lot of color.
Cleveland Clinic dietitian Kristen Kirkpatrick says colorful foods have a lot of vitamins and minerals that may help arm your body. She says vitamin C may help prevent or shorten infection, while vitamin D may help support immune health. It's harder to get with little sun in winter months, but supplements can help.
It's also important to talk about things that make the immune system less likely to perform well. So that is highly processed food, fast foods, added sugars. Those all negatively impact gut health. They all negatively impact the immune system as well.
Kirkpatrick recommends switching to a diet primarily plant-based. Consuming whole foods can keep your immune system strong. Aside from diet, you can also help immune health by getting enough sleep and staying active.
Kirkpatrick says getting enough probiotics, prebiotics, and fibers is important and can lead to a healthy gut, which promotes immune health too. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Temperatures right now up into the high 20s, low 30s. It's going to be a much better morning than what we've had past couple of days temperature-wise. Just about done with our flurries as those push off to the east. Not really a whole lot of travel concerns, but we'll look at the snow that we did get here when we return right after this.
How would you like to win?
Coming up, Kansas and Missouri lawmakers push through redistricting plans, but there's at least one court battle looming.
We start off Thursday with a little light snow, but there's actually a warm-up on the way. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And a new study in the 4 states addressing challenges posed to the homeless gets underway.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip in the Skywatch Weather Center.
We're kind of lucking out a little bit because the snow that we've seen has been very, very light, more of a dusting than anything else. You will notice it there on your car. But our roadways and trafficways have been absolutely fine as the snow kind of dips off to the east right there. However, that is not exactly the case everywhere, because what we can do is that's our backyard. There's 7th and Range Line right there. That's clear and calm as could be. Now, check out the east trafficway in Hammond in Springfield. That's a little bit of a different sight right there. Yeah, I know. I actually saw a snowplow roll through in Springfield this morning. So let's consider ourselves lucky. Another thing we're looking out with are our temperatures compared to what we had on Tuesday and Wednesday. Right now we're pushing up mainly into the low 30s, waiting for a couple places to get to the freezing point of 32, but certainly not having to battle the single-digit wind chills is very, very nice, and we'll make it up into the mid-40s here later on this afternoon with partly cloudy skies. Overnight, another shift of the wind means Friday is going to be just a touch cooler, probably low 40s. But then the wind shifts on us once again Friday night and comes in from the south. And what that does is take us into the 50s over the weekend.
All right, well, looking forward to nice weekend temperatures, that's for sure.
It's crazy what that wind has done this week. It's every 12 hours it wants to shift.
And I know you told us there'd be some flurries out there, but I was still surprised when I walked out and I saw a little bit of white on the ground.
Oh yeah, you'll see it on the car.
It's been bitter cold, but we haven't seen anything, so.
Right. It felt kind of odd walking out and like not immediately shivering and being like, and yet there's snow.
Mm-hmm. And I was nervous because I was like, well, is it slick? No, I'm okay.
Nah, I'm not going to say there are no slick spots out there. I'm not going to say that.
I just meant my back porch.
Compare and contrast to what Springfield has right now. we're lucking out.
Yeah, sometimes the biggest challenge is the walk from my door to
Oh,
my car.
yeah.
All right, thanks, Michael. Well, a study gets underway aimed at addressing the challenges of homelessness in the 4 states. Every January, organizations aimed at helping the homeless go out and conduct a point-in-time count. The count is made up of sheltered and unsheltered people on a single night. On Wednesday, crews from the Economic Security in Joplin went out to find people living without shelter to get information from them to be able to provide better resources in the future.
We usually bring information about local resources. I brought some snacks, just information that I can share. And we'll go out and we'll ask if we can ask them some questions. We use that information locally for planning.
The count is broken into 2 parts. A survey will go to all local shelters and transitional housing as well. And also teams will go out in Jasper and Newton counties to find people experiencing homelessness. Top Republicans pushed their congressional redistricting plan through the GOP-dominated Kansas legislature without much trouble. An expected court battle looms, though, after Wednesday's legislative action over whether the proposed map goes too far in hurting the state's only Democrat in Congress. The House's 79-37 vote sends Democratic Governor Laura Kelly a bill that would split the Kansas City area into 2 congressional districts and move the liberal northeast Kansas city of Lawrence into a district with central and western Kansas. The Senate approved the measure last week. Republicans in the Missouri Senate are fighting over how to divvy up the state's 8 congressional districts. The senators on Wednesday worked behind closed doors to compromise on new district lines. A plan backed by GOP leaders is projected to continue the current political divide of 6 Republican and 2 Democratic representatives. But some Republicans want to split the Democratic stronghold of Kansas City among multiple districts to give Republicans a shot at winning 7 seats. A local company is celebrating half a century in business. Midcon Cables was founded in Joplin in 1972. It manufactures wiring harnesses for the defense industry. While the company used to be privately owned, it became employee-owned in 2010. Officials say even after all these years, it still feels like family.
I've always loved working at Midcon. It's a very family-oriented business. They've always taken care of me, and I like how it's important to the management here at Midcon to take care of all the employees, all the way down to the lowest paid to the highest paid.
The company originally had 3 facilities in Joplin, and today it's headquartered on Davis Boulevard.
We have a report coming out of I-44 and by Mount Vernon. Hold on, I'm updating this as we go here. All right, they are reporting some slick spots, which doesn't surprise me. We're taking a look at those tower cams. The closer you get to Mount Vernon, they are developing some slick spots on I-44. Now, this is not an accident report. These are coming in from motorists that are making their way essentially from our counties in the 4 states to Springfield. So I need everybody apprised of that situation out there, because that snow is, like I said, when we looked at that tower cam in Springfield, they've got the snow plows out, believe it or not, nothing compared to what we got. So we'll keep our eyes on that situation. Everybody headed east, especially on 44, through the Mount Vernon exit and in that area, in that vicinity. Make sure you take it easy. Temperatures eventually working up into the mid-40s, so that's going to be delightful. And remember, we got a great looking weekend ahead, so if we take it nice and slow this morning, we've got nothing but 50s and sunshine on Saturday and Sunday. All right, this morning on the KOAM News Now, something to talk about, our Insta poll. We're talking about musical instruments. Earlier, we met a young man who is on his way to play at Carnegie Hall. As a matter of fact, he's going to be joining young musicians from around the world, part of the high school honors performance. Our question for you this morning is, do you play a musical instrument? Right now, we've got 33% of you either learned how to play the piano or the keyboard, and 33% of you went horn or flute. Take part each and every morning. You can either go to our Facebook page, KOAM News Now. You can go directly to the poll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. And we'll throw up the QR code. What are you musically inclined to?
Well, I took piano lessons for about 6 months when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could have continued them longer. My instructor moved away, so never got a new one. And I played the clarinet in junior high.
I'll be darned.
Yes, I did enjoy that. I still have my clarinet.
You would be in that 33% with the horn or the flute then.
But if I learned a new instrument, definitely would be the guitar. Bucket list.
Oh, great. So she's just going to sit around the studio and play Stairway to Heaven.
Maybe.
Oh, I know you would.
All right, thanks, Michael. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The Buffalo Bills lose a heartbreaker to the Kansas City Chiefs over the weekend, but one Chiefs fan decided to make a positive impact on a Buffalo area hospital. We'll explain. Plus, Ottawa police prepare for a convoy of Canadian truck drivers who want to protest federal vaccine mandates. Police say this demonstration could last for days. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Want a new Honda or quality?
Proud partner of Travis Kelce and his foundation, 87 and running.
Topping World Watch, Russia sends a number of its Su-35 fighter jets to Belarus. That's according to the Russian Ministry of Defense. Video posted to the ministry's YouTube channel shows a number of fighter jets taking off from an undisclosed airfield in Russia's eastern military district. It covers wide swaths of eastern Russia. The Belarus Ministry of Defense said that at least one Su-35 fighter jet landed at an airfield in Baranovichi, Belarus. Baranovichi, located in western Belarus, is just over 80 miles from the Ukraine border and just over 265 miles from the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. A convoy of Canadian truck drivers protesting federal vaccine mandates is due to arrive in Ottawa, Ontario over the weekend. Police in the capital say they're preparing for significant disruptions as the demonstration could last several days. There are also concerns about the extreme rhetoric that's being used by some of the protesters and their supporters on social media. Travis Danrich has the latest.
As the convoy rolls on toward the nation's capital, Ottawa is preparing for hundreds of thousands of protesters to descend on Parliament Hill.
There are an increasing amount of other interested parties who are considering, if not actually articulating, coming to the nation capital and participating in a range of related demonstrations and in some cases counter demonstrations.
Those extremist voices, now part of the group, are what's causing concern. Pat King claims to be an organizer. He has spouted homophobic and racist language in the past, and other leaders of the convoy are now distancing themselves.
100% that it's had to be done due to the PR. It had to be done. It had to. So, it is what it is.
Today, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh called the convoy dangerous. CBC News has confirmed Singh's brother-in-law donated $13,000 to the convoy's GoFundMe. Singh says he told his brother-in-law he completely disagrees with the donation. His relative is now trying to get the money back.
There are some people who are kind of getting involved in this now, kind of to infiltrate it essentially, to cause trouble.
Anti-hate groups are also sounding alarms.
Well, they're certainly the ones that are getting the lion's share of the attention. So as I said, there are certainly truckers that are going in this protest who are doing so through no malice towards anything other than their desire to end mandates.
Still, many Conservative MPs are voicing their support for the convoy. The federal transport minister had this to say.
I expect that protesters will respect the rule of law. They'll be respectful. And I leave the issues of security operations to our specialists.
Over $5.5 million has been raised for the movement. Those funds now on hold, as serious questions about where the money is going and how it will be distributed have yet to be answered.
That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Johnson Floor & Home announces our 2 biggest sales in one. 4 days only with.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Top Republicans pushed their congressional redistricting plan through the GOP-dominated Kansas legislature without much trouble. An expected court battle looms after the legislative action over whether the proposed map goes too far in hurting the state's only Democrat in Congress. The House's 79-37 vote sends Democratic Governor Laura Kelly a bill that would split the Kansas City area into 2 congressional districts and move the liberal northeast Kansas city of Lawrence into a district with central and western Kansas. The Senate approved the measure last week. Republicans in the Missouri Senate are fighting over how to divvy up the state's 8 congressional districts. Senators on Wednesday worked behind closed doors to compromise on new district lines. A plan backed by GOP leaders is projected to continue current political divide of 6 Republican and 2 Democratic representatives. Some Republicans want to split the Democratic stronghold of Kansas City among multiple districts to give Republicans a shot at winning 7 seats. Kids at the Galena, Kansas Public Library on Wednesday learn about the Sunflower State. The library hosted a storytime event centered around Kansas Day, a holiday recognizing when the state became the 34th state back in 1861. Organizers say with Kansas Day coming up, it was the perfect time for a history lesson. Kansas Day was first celebrated in 1877 by school children in Paola. Being involved in student organizations is a big part of the college experience for many people, but some organizations may not be well known. And Missouri Southern wanted to make sure students know what's available, so they hosted Campus Involvement Day yesterday. It was a chance for students to speak with representatives of the organizations, get their information, and enter giveaways. The event was in the Billingsley Student Center. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Has some morning flurries, a little dusting of snow across the 4 states on this Thursday morning. That's kind of piling up here as it works its way down I-44. So please know that if you're leaving southwest Missouri and you're headed towards Springfield this morning, there's number 1, some slick spots, but number 2, once you get into Springfield, it's a little bit of a different story than certainly what we had this morning. Our temperatures right now ranging just below the freezing mark. We got a couple of 32s up there, but substantially warmer this afternoon than what we had on Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be in the mid-40s today with mostly cloudy skies. A 7-day forecast with a little mini cold front coming our way tomorrow, so only around 41, but a great looking weekend with partly sunny skies and back into the 50s for both Saturday and Sunday. And we'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
KOAM broadcast.
A Super Bowl playoff loss for the Buffalo Bills is a win for one of the city's children's hospitals. The Bills were defeated by the Kansas City Chiefs Sunday night, but Chiefs fans are turning that defeat into a victory for a hospital near and dear to the Bills quarterback. Phoeben Casahoon has details of how fans are stepping up to help those in need.
To see our fan base fundraise for a different children's hospital and one that I have such a strong, deep connection with and my family does, is just beautiful.
Support for Oshai Children's Hospital continues to grow by the minute. It's something that stemmed from a Chiefs fan who wanted to support the Buffalo Bills and its community following Sunday's heartbreaking loss to the Chiefs.
It's really so heartwarming, and I'm so proud to be part of a community that has had another community respond in kind.
Currently, Oshai is treating more than 150 children.
Getting help in the way of donations assures us that we can buy the right equipment, have the right staff in the right moment at the right time, and you never know when that's going to be.
For a former Western New York native like Sarah Jahari, the Children's Hospital and its staff literally saved her life in 1995.
A Grand Island girl was rushed by Mercy Flight into Buffalo and then transported to Children's Hospital tonight. 5-year-old Sarah Jahart was struck by a car on Grand Island Boulevard.
I believe I was in a coma. It was looking pretty bleak for a bit. I remember my mom telling me that they called in the priest, which usually is not good news. I believe like everything was shutting down, and then miraculously something something happened.
She and her family had moved to Buffalo from overseas in '92. She recalls the city of good neighbors living up to its name, sending her gifts and well wishes throughout her recovery.
It was our first ever home, welcomed us to America very well.
Jahari still visits every summer from Kansas City since her family lives in the region. Though she's since converted to the Chiefs Kingdom fan base, many in her family are still tried and true Bills fans, including her aunt who recently passed over the summer.
I can't deny, somewhere deep inside of me really wanted this win for the Bills, just so I could continue to see their smiles and their excitement after just a really tough year.
Oshai Children's Hospital says it's received more than $255,000 from 13,000 donors. That's amazing. We'll be back with another look at your forecast right after this.
At Affordable Dent,
Nice to be able to wake up and not have to worry about wind chills that are, between 2 and 6 degrees like what we had on Tuesday and Wednesday. This is what it feels like when you walk outside. Anywhere from 19 looks like our lowest in Yates Center up to about 29 right there in Newata and Veneta. So it's pretty typical for this time of year. And when you do walk outside, don't be surprised if you don't see a little dusting of snow out there from overnight where it rolled through from west to east. We're just about done with it here in about next 15-20 minutes. Should depart our highlighted counties. And then we head up toward the mid-40s today. So that snow is certainly not going to stick around. We'll talk about what's to come in the weekend when we return right after this.
Coming up, Kansas and Missouri lawmakers push through redistricting plans, but there's at least one court battle looming.
Light morning snow just about a thing of the past. Then we can concentrate on a Thursday warm-up with the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And a new study in the 4 states addresses challenges posed to the homeless gets underway.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first let's go to Michael Hayslip, where there are some road conditions.
Yeah, we got some flurries, a dusting of light snow, and as a matter of fact, Tanya, it actually got as far south as Louisiana.
Oh, wow.
And as far north as Indiana. Yeah, we just found ourselves right in the middle of it, and nothing severe by any means. That gives you an idea from the north to south track of it as it pushes off to the east of us. Mostly cloudy skies. Let's go ahead and remove the satellite coverage there, and we can talk about the snow that is still remaining for our highlighted counties. Should be gone here in about 15-20 minutes. Now, as we transition to Springfield, a little bit of a different sight for them. As a matter of fact, reports of some slick spots on I-44 in between Monette and Springfield. Now, we don't even see anything on the ground right there. That's 7th and Range Line, of course, in Joplin. A little bit of different sight here. When we go to Hammonds and the East Trafficway. Look at that, a fair amount of snow that piled up there overnight into the early morning hours to the point where they even had some plows out and about. So please know that if you're headed off to the east, it does get a little thicker out there. Temperatures right now for us anywhere from about 28 to 32, so much better than what we had on Tuesday and Wednesday. And finishing off this afternoon, up around 44 degrees. Overnight we will have the little shift of the wind. It'll back in from the north, so tomorrow morning, a little bit cooler. We'll be down into the 20s once again. And after we get through Friday, which is going to stay dry, as a matter of fact, we'll be dry all the way through next Monday, shaping up for a great weekend as we'll be sitting in the 50s as we get ready to wrap up January.
All right. Yeah, I can't complain about the 50s for the weekend.
It's crazy to think we're getting ready to open up February. And when we open up February, oh my.
Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on that. That's
going to get interesting.
I do not like that low on Tuesday night.
And it's going to get interesting.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Well, the GOP-dominated Kansas legislature pushes its congressional redistricting plan through. There wasn't much issue getting it pushed through, though. However, there will be a fight in the Kansas courts to stop it. An expected court battle looms after yesterday's legislative action over whether the proposed map goes too far in hurting the state's only Democrat in Congress. The House's 79-37 vote sends Democratic Governor Laura Kelly a bill that would split the Kansas City area into 2 congressional districts and move the liberal Northeast Kansas city of Lawrence into a district with central and western Kansas. The Senate approved the measure last week. Working behind closed doors, Republicans in the Missouri Senate fight how to divvy up the state's 8 congressional districts. This is in order to try and find a compromise on the new district lines. A plan backed by GOP leaders is projected to continue current political divide of 6 Republican and 2 Democratic representatives. But some Republicans want to split the Democratic stronghold of Kansas City among multiple districts to give Republicans a shot at winning 7 seats. Cherokee Nation is offering cash incentives for people to produce TV shows and movies on the tribe's 14-county reservation in northeast Oklahoma. Tribal leaders announced that beginning March 1st, the Cherokee Nation Film Office will take applications for cash rebates of up to $1 million a year to cover production expenses. It will also offer increased funding for using Native American employees and Native-owned businesses. Even in the 4 states, homelessness needs to be addressed, and there's a study now underway to help address the challenges of being homeless. Every January, organizations aimed at helping the homeless go out and conduct a point-in-time count. This count is made up of sheltered and unsheltered people on a single night. Crews from the Economic Security in Joplin went out on Wednesday to find people living without shelter to get information from them to be able to provide better resources in the future.
We use that information locally for planning to help leverage, local funding, private, state, and federal funding for programs that can help house people. And then just, the biggest reason is to go out and connect with people.
The count is broken up into 2 parts. A survey went to all local shelters and transitional housing last night. Also, teams went out in Jasper and Newton counties to find people experiencing homelessness. Kansas Day is right around the corner, and the Galena, Kansas Public Library helped kids learn more about the Sunflower State yesterday. Library hosted a story time event centered around Kansas Day holiday, recognizing when the state became the 34th state back in 1861. Organizers say with Kansas Day coming up, it's the perfect time for a history lesson.
So at our library, each week we host a story time. And this week we chose to focus on Kansas Day, which is Saturday. And we just wanted to use this time to familiarize our young early readers with our Kansas facts, symbols, and the importance of the state of Kansas.
Kansas Day was first celebrated in 1877 by school children in Paola. Well, being involved in student organizations is a big part of the college experience for many, but some organizations may not be well known. Missouri Southern wanted to make sure students know what's available, so they hosted Campus Involvement Day. It was a chance for students to speak with representatives of the organization, get information, and enter giveaways.
I think it's very important for a student to get involved outside the classroom. Number 1, it makes their collegiate experience a lot better. But number 2, it can really help them make connections.
The event was in the Billingsley Student Center. Well, today, in 1945, Soviet troops entered Poland and liberated the survivors of the network of concentration camps known as Auschwitz. By doing this, the Soviet troops revealed how horrible it really was and showed the world the atrocities committed there. Although most people know it as Auschwitz, it was really a series of camps designated as Auschwitz I, Auschwitz II, Auschwitz III, with 40 smaller satellite camps. Auschwitz II, located in Birkenau, is one of the most notorious murder grounds where murders were monstrously carried out, containing 300 prison barracks, 4 bathhouses where prisoners were gassed, corpse cellars, and cremating ovens. It was truly hell on earth. Dr. Joseph Mengele, or the Angel of Death, also performed experiments on thousands of prisoners at that camp. Definitely a day that none of us should ever forget.
Amazing story on CNN that I'm pretty sure is still up because I just read it yesterday about Israeli, there's a pair of Israeli archaeologists that to this day are still going through Auschwitz and Sobibor and finding name tags and trying to reunite those with current family members across the globe. Yeah, it's still to this day they're doing that. 7-day forecast that has temperatures up into the mid-40s today. We'll be done with our snow here in, say, next 10 to 15 minutes. It does get thicker as you head towards Springfield, and we've got some reports of slick spots on I-44 the closer you get to Springfield. We haven't picked up any here in the 4 states, but still, even with that being said, make sure you take it easy this morning.
This morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, we've got Chef Anthony Fisher in house. He's going to give us some pasta recipes that you'll be able to make in your own home for lunch or dinner. I'm so excited to have him in studio. Plus, Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer is retiring, allowing President Biden to put his first Supreme Court justice on the bench. The question, though, will Republicans even let him? And people have been touting that the vaccination causes infertility. However, doctors and scientists are saying otherwise. Stick with us. We'll have your answer. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning.
President Biden will be filling his first Supreme Court seat this year with the announcement that Justice Stephen Breyer is retiring. Deborah Alfarone with the story from D.C.
Today, Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer is expected to announce his retirement at the White House.
Let him make whatever statement he's going to make.
President Biden declined to comment further as the news broke yesterday. But the president made this declaration on the campaign trail in 2020.
I'm looking forward to making sure there's a black woman on the Supreme Court.
The top candidates are all sitting judges. The frontrunner, 51-year-old federal appeals court judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, a Harvard Law School graduate and former law clerk for Justice Breyer.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
The 83-year-old Breyer, a liberal, was nominated by President Clinton in 1994. He's faced some pressure to retire while Democrats control Congress over concerns a Republican Senate would block any future nomination.
When exactly I should retire or will retire has many complex parts to it. I think I'm aware of most of them.
Breyer will likely stay on the bench until the end of the court's term this summer. Then all eyes will be right here on Capitol Hill for an intense confirmation process.
We want to get this done as soon as possible.
3 Republicans voted to confirm Jackson to her current position, including Maine's Susan Collins.
We can take our time, have hearings, go through the process.
Breyer's replacement will not change the court's ideological balance, a 6-3 conservative majority. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now, if there is no Republican support for the nominee, that person can still be nominated. It's just going to take all 50 Democratic senators to do it, with, of course, Vice President Harris then breaking the tie, making it 51-50. There cannot be any Republican filibuster either, as they ended that in 2017, allowing President Trump to fill 3 Supreme Court seats. Coming out of San Antonio, Texas, a disturbing story about several boys who are accused of beating their own mother. Happened early Wednesday morning as the woman did manage to call 911 for help. She is in critical condition. The boys, ages 12 and 16, now in custody, and police say they recovered the bat they believe was used in the attack. No motive has yet been made public. A Michigan judge is allowing the case against 5 men charged with domestic terrorism and a plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer to move forward. Prosecutors say the men are members of a militia group. 3 of the suspects also charged with conspiracy to use weapons of mass destruction. Now, their attorneys filed a motion to dismiss this case based on allegations of entrapment. With that request denied, the trial likely starts in March. There's a 6th man that's in prison after pleading guilty to a kidnapping conspiracy charge related to the Governor Whitmer plot. A second investigation into the death of a Georgia teen who was found rolled up in a gym mat in 2013 has been closed with no charges filed. The body of 17-year-old Kendrick Johnson was found upside down in the gym mat at a high school. Now, the initial investigation concluded his cause of death was accidental asphyxia, but Johnson's parents believe their son was killed. So they ordered an autopsy, which concluded the cause of death was unexplained, non-accidental blunt force trauma to the neck. County Sheriff requested an FBI probe in April of 2019, but that investigation also concluded Johnson's death was an accident. The Johnson family plans to hold an event on Thursday outside the Sheriff's Department to respond to the report. That is a look at today's top national stories. Be right back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Nothing for.
Welcome back. We've got a special guest in studio this morning. Pittsburgh High School's culinary instructor, Chef Anthony Fisher. Thank you for joining us.
I'm happy to join you, Tanya. How are you this morning?
I'm excited because we are going to be cooking one of my favorite things, Italian pasta.
Oh, I love this stuff. You're going to love this dish.
All right, so what are we going to be making?
I call this my lover's pasta. Excuse me. Got me a little emotional this morning.
That's all right.
This is my favorite dish. I saved this one in my personal repertoire for somebody special, or if you just want to celebrate an anniversary. It comes together really quick. It's very simple to make, and it takes no time at all. Everything here can be found at your local grocery store.
Okay.
So we're going to start with a hot pan and some butter inside. Some olive oil to get it going. And while this is all going and getting a little melty down, we're going to add some minced red onion, some garlic, and some jalapenos.
Okay. Ooh, yeah, give it a little spice.
Oh yes, gotta love the spice in this.
And it's okay to put a little garlic in there for your lover, you know.
Oh yes.
If you both have it, then it doesn't matter.
When in doubt, the answer is always more garlic. More garlic, more garlic, more garlic. So
You can just put a breath mint on the table.
exactly. We're gonna add a little crushed red pepper inside of it to get a little bit more of the heat and the flavor going. This one's good. I call this the lover's pasta because it is so simple that you can do it for somebody who's significant for you. Any anniversary at the night. I personally use this one when I'm working to try and impress somebody.
Right.
But I also teach this one to my students because it comes together so quickly. It's something that they can make. You can plan ahead. You can cook spaghetti off and hold it for 6 days cold.
Nice.
So strain it out really good, kit it with cold water. It'll refrigerate very nicely for you, so you can hold it and cook with it all week long. And that's the same for any hard pasta.
That's good.
So now that we have this all
Is there a trick to
coming
when you
together,
do it and you have it cold in the fridge or something, like to refresh it? Do you just throw it in the skillet?
we
or?
throw it in right here into this pot of hot water, and it takes about a minute for it to get all nice and hot and ready to go. And then you toss it right into your pot, and you can smell all the beautiful goodness coming right
Oh
off
my
of
goodness,
this.
it smells amazing in here.
A little
That's for
strong,
sure.
a little going. Now we're going to add just a little bit of lime juice. And I just take a half a lime, juice it right into my pot, give it a little bit of acidity.
Yummy.
And then we're going to go right to our pasta, into our hot water, let it get hot. And we're going to throw a little bit of chopped parsley right into it. This is fresh parsley. It's really cheap, but it adds a very pretty color to it. And you can garnish right at the top.
Nice.
So give it a little shake. Our pasta's hot. Our pan's ready. Right into our pan. And let it just sit and get nice and ooey gooey warm together. Little flips.
Nice mixture of flavors there. Perfect.
Nice.
You know, and it's
beautiful.
lovers pasta. We've got a specific holiday that's coming up for lovers.
Exactly.
You know, a great time that you can make this for your loved one, and you've got plenty of time to try it a few times to
Oh,
make sure you
yes.
perfect it just right.
This is-
ooh, I want to add more garlic next time, or maybe just a tad
Little less.
fewer jalapenos.
Well, the crushed red pepper is going to bring out the heat for you.
Yeah.
The jalapenos are for a little bit of color, a little bit of crunch. We don't want to cook everything down to where it turns into mush, but we do want to get the color and move everything around. Now it's all done.
Okay.
We're going to take it. We're going to take our plate, and I'm going to set this plate at an angle for you.
Nice. Actually,
Right.
let's move our pot over here so we get it out of the way.
I'll move that.
Yeah, there we go.
And then just right onto your beautiful plate.
Beautiful. Oh, wow.
And you can give it a little bit of a move around, however you want.
What a tasty looking dish. I'm probably going to burn my mouth trying this, but.
A little bit of green parsley over the top, and then some fresh shaved Parmesan on top.
Of course, if you want to recap how to make this dish, all you have to do is go to our website a little bit after the show here, KOAMnewsnow.com, and you can find this segment and something that we're going to be making on Fox 14 here in a little bit as well. You want to give us a teaser what to expect up in our next show?
We're gonna make a Midwest a Midwest Alfredo. You can add fried chicken to it, you can add grilled chicken to it, you can add anything you want to it. Comes out very beautifully.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing.
Isn't that great?
That is good. Perfect
Simple,
amount of
quick. Anybody can make this, and if you plan ahead just a little bit on, say, like a Sunday, you can have this ready to go in just a couple of minutes. Takes no time at all.
And the pasta tastes like you just boiled it right there. So
Exactly.
that's perfect. That is excellent. Again, you can find this on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. And stick around because on KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, we're going to be making that Midwest pasta.
Yes, we are.
Looking forward to that.
Enjoy. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll be right back. Topping Health Watch this morning, pregnant women are at increased risk for severe COVID-19 illness, which is why it's recommended they receive the COVID vaccine. Some couples planning to get pregnant or already pregnant have had concerns about the vaccine. Danya Bacchus has more on the latest research providing reassurance that protecting themselves and their babies does not affect fertility.
Sarah Ekus was a mom to a 1-year-old when she got the COVID-19 vaccine last year. She was also newly pregnant with a baby conceived through IVF, but unfortunately had a late miscarriage. The 41-year-old was due for her booster when they decided to try again, so she got her shot before her egg transfer.
I wanted to make sure I was doing everything I could to keep the baby safe. And then again, if I could send, have those antibodies passed to the baby, that would be helpful as well.
Some people have concerns about getting vaccinated and conceiving now or later. New research is adding to the evidence the vaccine does not affect fertility.
There's a lot of anxiety that has occurred around vaccination, around COVID in general. So we need to manage the anxiety by giving people back control, and we do that with good old-fashioned information.
In one of the largest studies to date, Dr. Alan Copperman and researchers at Icahn Mount Sinai looked at patients going through IVF, vaccinated and unvaccinated.
We compared outcome, how many eggs, how many embryos, whether or not they got pregnant. And fortunately, we found no difference whether or not a patient was vaccinated or not, and whether or not she got pregnant.
Another study finds vaccination in either partner does not reduce fertility, but COVID-19 infection in men, especially severe disease, may temporarily reduce fertility.
The vaccine can prevent almost all cases of severe COVID, and we can prevent male infertility, and we can promote health and wellness for female fertility, all by giving the vaccine to reproductive age people.
Sarah runs an infertility support group.
I think having this research is going to be really important to reassure women going through treatments.
She's 14 weeks pregnant and due in July. Danya Bacchus, CBS News.
Previous studies have also found that the COVID-19 vaccine did not raise the risk of preterm birth or fetal growth problems. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Temperatures right now in the high 20s, low 30s. Eventually we'll go mid 40s. We are done with our snow, so that's a positive aspect of it all. Overnight, the wind does shift, works in from the north. We're calling Friday this little miniature cold front. You'll notice about a 5-degree difference there during the afternoon and a little bit cooler during the nighttime hours, but certainly nothing compared to what we had on.
Make your
Coming up, Kansas and Missouri lawmakers push through redistricting plans, but there's at least one court battle looming.
Finally done with our Thursday morning snowflakes. Now
And a new study in the 4 states addresses challenges posed to the homeless gets underway.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first let's go to Michael Hayslip where he's been tracking the temperatures.
Yeah, we're done. We're done as far as our highlighted counties go, as far as our light snow. As you do work your way east towards Springfield, though, it piled up. It kind of piled up on them. They even had some snowplows out. Well, thank you, Dylan. They even had some snowplows out in Springfield, so that was pretty interesting. Now, as we get over 7th and Rangeline, we see no accumulation for us. 31 degrees, we will take that comparatively speaking to what it was like on Tuesday and Wednesday, and temperatures right now ranging high 20s, low 30s, whole bunch of 32s already out there. Now, 32, the magical number, not only because of the freezing point, that was yesterday's high. And if you take the Tuesday and Wednesday, 33 and 32, that takes our average high for the entire month of January, drops it below 45 degrees. We were actually hanging on to 45 for the first 26 full days of the year. As that snow system progresses toward the Ohio River Valley, it really won't have any effect throughout the Midwest. On the East Coast, they got a big one coming for this weekend. Our weekend, though, is going to shape up to be absolutely pristine. Look at Future Track. We stay on the dry side the entire time. A little bit cooler tomorrow with a little secondary cold front, I'd call it. But still, overnight lows, low 20s, daily high 41. And a weekend to wrap up January. Who can complain about mostly sunny skies and temps in the mid-50s?
Yeah.
That's because February is going to come get us.
No, I don't want to think of that.
February is going to be active to start the month.
We are going to focus on a beautiful weekend. That's what we're
Oh, the
gonna
weekend's
do.
going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be great. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, a study gets underway aimed at addressing the challenges of homelessness in the 4 states. Every January, organizations aimed at helping the homeless go out and conduct a point-in-time count. Now, this count is made up of sheltered and unsheltered people on a single night. On Wednesday, crews from Economic Security in Joplin went out to find people living without shelter to get information from them to be able to provide better resources in the future.
Resources, I brought some snacks, just information that I can share, and we'll go out and we'll ask if we can ask them some questions. We use that information locally for planning.
The count is broken into 2 parts. A survey goes to all local shelters and transitional housing, and also teams will go out in Jasper and Newton counties to find people who are experiencing homelessness. Top Republicans have pushed their congressional redistricting plan through the GOP-dominated Kansas legislature without much trouble. Unexpected court battle, though, looms after yesterday's legislative action over whether the proposed map goes too far in hurting the state's only Democrat in Congress. The House's 79-37 vote sends the Democratic Governor, Laura Kelly, a bill that would split the Kansas City area into 2 congressional districts and move the liberal northeast Kansas city of Lawrence into a district with central and western Kansas. The Senate approved the measure last week. And Republicans in the Missouri Senate are fighting over how to divvy up the state's 8 congressional districts. Senators on Wednesday worked behind closed doors to compromise on new district lines. A plan backed by GOP leaders is projected to continue current political divide of 6 Republican and 2 Democratic representatives. But some Republicans want to split the Democratic stronghold of Kansas City among multiple districts to give Republicans a shot at winning 7 seats. Could Cedric Lofton's case head to the Department of Justice next? That's the question after some Sedgwick County leaders are officially calling for an independent investigation or a DOJ review. The 17-year-old from Wichita, Kansas died in custody back in September. And even after the DA reviewed the case, some people continue fighting to keep it open. Caroline Elliott has the latest on the fight.
My personal opinion is you can't investigate yourself. I think it's important to be open to what your flaws are and having a neutral review of this, somebody with really no skin in our local game, but could come in as an objective observer to help us. I don't think there's any harm in that. And that's what I'm calling for.
Sedgwick County Commissioner Lacey Cruz calling for Cedric Lofton's case to reopen, but this time by the Department of Justice.
Now, as far as DOJ involvement, that's a whole nother animal. And looking at from the death of CJ, I don't think it's going to hurt anything to have another look at this.
The demand for an independent investigation comes after Sedgwick County and the city of Wichita officially met to create a task force to review the case, mental health resources, and use of force standards. But some leaders believe a task force is simply not enough.
We cannot fully expect for this group of volunteers to bear the full burden of changing systemic problems that have really, plagued the system and have ultimately resulted in the death of CJ Lofton.
This is a case that has received national attention over the last several months. But as of right now, the Department of Justice has not officially reviewed Lofton's case.
Well, today, back in 1978, the Dracula Killer murders 4 people. Richard Chase, who became known as the Dracula Killer, killed 4 people in Sacramento, California. He removed organs from the body of one of his victims, Evelyn Miroth, and then filled the organs with some of her blood. He then proceeded to take said organs with him. Chase had been found in a field the previous year, naked and covered in cow's blood, and his behavior didn't surprise those who knew him. Upon his attest, Chase's home was filled with human blood, and they found it in the blender and sink, suggesting that the murderer had been drinking it for some time. In 1979, Chase went to trial where his lawyer unsuccessfully argued he was insane. He was convicted on 6 counts of murder. Chase was given the death penalty, but he killed himself in his jail cell in 1980. That's a case I wasn't familiar with.
You are? Or?
I was not.
Oh.
I am now.
He shows up in a couple of Robert Ressler's books because Ressler worked his case with the FBI. Temperatures right now anywhere from about 27, looks like our low spot, 127 in Yates Center. But we got a bunch that have bumped up to 32. Far cry from where we were on Tuesday and Wednesday. And this afternoon, finally able to get out of the 30s and work our way into the 40s. And really, even though Friday is going to be just a touch cooler, can't wait for 50s for the last weekend of January.
Let's look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Apple AirTags are meant to track your belongings. However, people are using them to track people instead. That's causing some extreme worry. Plus, you don't have to be musically gifted to play an instrument. It just takes patience and lots of practice, plus guidance. Today, we want to know, what musical instrument do you or did you play? Or maybe do you want to play? We let you weigh in. We'll be right back. Consumer Watch this morning. Apple's popular AirTags can be used to find everyday items that may get lost. But law enforcement agencies are warning that some people are using the tiny device to spy on unsuspecting victims. Megan Hickey has the story.
I think it's an easy tool to track people and to do it relatively anonymously, and that's concerning.
Elizabeth is talking about the Apple AirTag. The tiny devices can be placed on everything from luggage to keys and then tracked down if lost or stolen. But Elizabeth says someone put one on her car while she was out shopping. During the drive home, her iPhone warned that an AirTag was detected and had tracked her for 5 miles.
I could see on the map, the Find My app, that the AirTag had actually dropped off in the street not far from my house. And I just felt really creeped out.
She's far from alone. Another woman found this AirTag in her purse after receiving this series of notifications from Apple that someone was tracking her movements.
AirTag is designed to track items, not people.
Apple says they discourage this type of tracking, which is why you'll get a notification if an unknown AirTag is seen moving with you over time. But Elizabeth says more should be done to educate the public.
In my case, I didn't realize, hey, you should probably drive straight to a police station and have them check your car for it before going home so that someone can't track you.
Is that, looking back, what you would have done?
Yeah, looking back, I absolutely would have.
If an AirTag is tracking you, Apple gives on-screen instructions on how to find it and disengage it. Android device owners can download the Tracker Detect app. Megan Hickey, CBS News, Chicago.
Well, another up and down day on Wall Street. The Dow ultimately fell 129 points after being up more than 500 earlier in the day. The Nasdaq added 2. S&P 500 lost 6. Stocks fell after Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell spoke following the Fed's 2-day policy meeting. As expected, Powell said the central bank could raise interest rates soon as it tries to rein in inflation. Analysts expect that to happen in March. It would be the first hike since the pandemic began. Tesla is feeling the supply crunch while issuing a better-than-expected earnings report yesterday with profit topping $2.3 billion. CEO Elon Musk said there would be no new models debuting this year. Like other automakers, Tesla has been hurt by the shortage of semiconductor chips. Musk said Tesla will work on engineering and tooling to create future vehicles. And a British rail industry group is offering perks to encourage commuters to jump back on trains. Free audiobooks, coffee, bacon rolls, and more will be that's interesting, will be available to workers across the pond who take the train to work. The rail delivery group says since home restrictions in the UK were removed last week, peak ridership has increased 5%. Still, according to the UK's Department for Transport, passenger numbers on Monday were at just 53% pre-pandemic levels. That's it for Consumer Watch. Let's go over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, met a young gentleman by the name of Aiden Persaud, and He's not only a violinist, but get this, teenagers on his way to play at Carnegie Hall as part of the 2022 High School Honors Performance. This is a thing where only your highest rated high school musicians get a chance to do this. Our question for you this morning on the Instapoll is, do you play a musical instrument? And while 54% of you say, nah, I didn't really pick anything up, piano and keyboard are in second place right now with 27%. And the one Tanya wants to perfect on her bucket list, she said 13% of you play the guitar. Appreciate everybody's engagement each and every morning. We're going to come back, celebrate birthdays and anniversaries, but first, let's check in with what's coming up on CBS Mornings.
I'm Tony DeCopel. Coming up on CBS Mornings, Antonio Brown sits down with our Nate Burleson. The embattled NFL star talks about his mental health, why he walked away from his team, and his future in the game of football that is coming up on CBS Mornings.
Hashtag polar opposites at the Pittsburgh.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, William Coley, who served in the U.S. Army for 26 years. He deployed to Iraq from 2005 to 2006. The Riverton native earned a Bronze Star during his tenure. We thank you, William Coley, today's four-state hero.
And he's just a great dude, too. He is a whole lot of fun to talk to. And thank you, thank you for your service, but he's a good time right there. Let's begin our birthday list with a great picture of Concrete Harris, who is turning 9 in Fort Scott. And Concrete, I want you to know that these birthday wishes come with love from Mama, Bert, and Uncle Cogpeppy.
That's an interesting name. I like that too. All right, Mia Hickman turning 12 years old this year. Cheerleader from Seneca there. Mia is turning 12. Happy birthday.
Bo Badini, now 16. We were talking about it, our something to talk about is about what instrument do you play. Bo's like, well, not only that, I'm going to throw in my birthday picture while I get my driver's license. How about that, 4 states?
Mm-hmm.
Bo, a very happy birthday to you, my man in Pittsburgh.
Pulling out the big guns there. Evan Sisney turning 18 years old in Girard. Your birthday wishes come with love from Mom, Dad, Aiden, Marley and Quinn, Grandma and Grandpa Hansen, and Grandma and Grandpa Prettyman. Big old family there.
In the Berg, Katie Elliott. Congratulations, Katie, on that diploma right there, and congratulations and a very happy 21st to you. So the party commences tonight in Pittsburgh, and these birthday wishes from not only your boyfriend, but the entire family.
Aww. And in Columbus, with love from Kira,
wow.
Kathy Simpson turning 60 years old. Check out that one.
Very nice.
Hey, see the bow there?
Very nice.
That's pretty cool. Happy birthday, Kathy.
Charlene Lee celebrating her 68th birthday. Miss Charlene, happy birthday in Pittsburgh.
Fred Reynolds turns 68 years old this year. Hope you have a great one, Fred, in Girard.
A milestone with the number 1 beside it is Ryan and Katie Gath 1 year ago were sealing their vows, and now they're celebrating their first anniversary. Congratulations, Ryan and Katie.
Aw, that's sweet.
Hey, how come we don't get a picture of Melinda Ewan? What's up with that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Melinda, happy birthday out in St. Paul. She works out at the Prairie Mission Retirement Home. Happy birthday, Melinda.
She's wonderful. I love the Ewan. Melinda, Beth.
And Beth
It's been
Ewan.
a while since I called him. And then Vinny, too?
Vinny Pyle.
No picture. Mr. Bill Wilson, I'm going to let you off the hook, sir. I'm happy we have Bill's birthday on here as he celebrates number 72 in Weir. But I don't want to group him in with Melinda, Beth, and Vinny, who I wish a very happy birthday to, but also to know the 3 of you. I will find pictures of the 3 of you as well. No, happy birthday and happy anniversary to all. And Bill, a very happy birthday to you. Here's where you can send them into birthdays at KOAMTV.com. You can also go to our website. That happens to be KOAMNewsNow.com. Speaking of our website, here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club by going to our website and signing up. And once you do, you get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Now, coming up here in just a little bit, the FDA has a ban on a group of people for blood donation. And that group happens to be gay and bisexual men. Now, advocates are calling for the FDA to remove that ban, especially when the United States is already in the midst of a nationwide blood shortage. We're going to have more on this story and possible solutions when we flip on over to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Our flurries for Thursday morning, now a thing of the past. We can remove the satellite picture for the cloud cover, get a better idea of exactly where it's tracking. It's now all the way to the east side of Springfield as well. But speaking of Springfield, there's a quiet 7th and Range line. We don't even see anything build up on the ground. Here's Hammond's and East Trafficway, right across from Hammond's Field in Springfield. Look at the accumulation that they got. They still have it on the roads out there. And we have had reports of some slick spots on I-44 in between the Monette and Springfield exits. So please slow down out there. It's you know, we're not talking about having to bust out the snow tires or anything, but with temperatures riding right at the freezing mark, you know, you get some of those spots that'll melt after traffic rolls through, and then they'll have a tendency to refreeze. So just want everybody apprised of that. Partly sunny skies up into the mid-40s later on today. Wind comes in from the west, and then overnight the wind shifts on us once again. The wind seemingly has shifted every 12 hours this week, and that's why we've had such a wide variety of temperatures. So we'll be a little bit cooler on Friday. We'll go low 40s. Then it will shift once again Friday evening, work in from the south, and that's why we're into the 50s for our last weekend of January. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
It's the Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Top Republicans pushed their congressional redistricting plan through the GOP-dominated Kansas legislature without much trouble. An expected court battle looms after yesterday's legislative action over whether the proposed map goes too far in hurting the state's only Democrat in Congress. The House's 79-37 vote sends Democratic Governor Laura Kelly a bill that would split the Kansas City area into 2 congressional districts and move the liberal northeast Kansas city of Lawrence into a district with central and western Kansas. The Senate approved the measure last week. Republicans in the Missouri Senate are fighting over how to divvy up the state's 8 congressional districts. Senators on Wednesday worked behind closed doors to compromise on new district lines. A plan backed by GOP leaders is projected to continue current political divide of 6 Republican and 2 Democratic representatives. But some Republicans want to split the Democratic stronghold of Kansas City among multiple districts to give Republicans a shot at winning 7 seats. Kids at the Galena, Kansas Public Library on Wednesday learned about the Sunflower State. The library hosted a storytime event centered around Kansas Day, a holiday recognizing when the state became the 34th state back in 1861. Organizers say with Kansas Day coming up, it was the perfect time for a history lesson. Kansas Day was first celebrated in 1877 by school children in Paola. Well, being involved in student organizations is a big part of the college experience, and for many people, but for some organizations, it may not be as well known. Missouri Southern wanted to make sure students know what's available, so they hosted Campus Involvement Day. It was a chance for students to speak with representatives of the organizations, get information, and enter giveaways. The event was in the Billingsley Student Center. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Snow is a thing of the past. It's going to take a little bit for the skies to lighten up, though, because we still have some pretty heavy cloud cover as a result of that system that moved through late last night, early tomorrow, or early this morning. And don't forget, as you move east on I-44, we are getting some reports of some slick spots. Partly sunny skies today, highs around the mid-40s, and we stay dry all the way up not only to the weekend, but through the weekend as well. Speaking of the weekend, how about 50s for the last weekend of January before we open up February with some interesting weather that includes everything from, thunderstorms to little wintry precipitation.
All right, well, coming up today at noon, we're making Granny's Moonshine Pie. Yeah, moonshine pie in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
It's weird because it was my Uncle Raymond that was the moonshine maker in the family. It actually wasn't Grandma. Who knew? Coming up on CBS Mornings, we're going to meet the great-grandmother and Holocaust survivor who's using TikTok to teach a younger generation about one of history's darkest chapters.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, the Pope wants parents to accept their kids regardless of their sexuality, but the Catholic Church still does not allow for gay marriage. We'll take a look.
All right, don't forget, slow down out there, take your time, do me a favor, be safe. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.
Sunday, one game, two.
Cars around it in development around the world. Mostly they're waiting for regulatory approval. Some, though, are available for pre-order, like Dutch company Palvi. Its entry-level model is priced at $400,000. That's all the time we have for you this morning. We're glad you tuned in. From all of us at Ag Day, I'm